The divine Neteru are what people should be, or those who are at this level should be really looking into. Read into all the gods of the, particularly the Hindu gods, all the African gods, Native American gods, South American, Latin American gods, because really they're all netters. They're all forces of nature. They're descriptions of the energies around us and these how this spirit embodies a person, and that person becomes the the god or goddess, the priestess, or the whoever is the one that embodies that particular royal spirit or leader spirit or whatever spirit it is. But there's all kinds of spirits to embody you. Check out also the 72 demons or seals of Solomon. That is very key for understanding like these different energies that surround us all, and how a lot of these energies are actually like wandering spirits in a way now, because we've been so separated from our divine nature for so long. And so we're tapping back into that divine nature. It can be a little scary because these are great forces that are amalgamations of spiritual energy, and not, you know, like, of course, in our human minds, or our third dimensional human minds, we can't really fathom things that are beyond the uncanny valley, or things that we just know on Earth. So they're gonna have, when you first realize your spirit animal, or you're just the spirit that wants to come through you to you, is going to be probably a little scary at first, because it's just not used to that type of image, or that type of entity, that vision of the entity. It's not going to be the fluffy, it's not going to be whatever fluffy thing you think it's going to be, or something like that, or some beautiful whatever. That's why the Hindu gods are probably uh, Hindu gods and demons and all this kind of stuff are like the more true representation, like the Necronomicon. That's like also a good one. Like, these are all real spiritual entities, no matter what name we put them under, but they already exist in the ethereal form. And when you're trying to, I was gonna say trying, when you're working on developing your spirituality, you have to read through all these spirits, and you're gonna feel, it's gonna be natural to feel connected to a lot of them at first, because of how the energy is on Earth already in general at this moment. Is scattered energy everywhere, and um, people are empathic without realizing it, or people send psychic attacks. All these things that are happening in the unseen field. Um, so like, um, yeah, that's just gonna happen. You're gonna feel connected to a lot of spirits, energies at first, and then as you further, you gotta keep developing it, because this is a lifelong process till we get to the end, and we know who we. The point is to know who we are when we get to the end of our life, to the end of this game. Then when we get out of the matrix, we'll know who we are by the time it's time for us to leave, because we need to be who we are before we leave. Like, that's a I don't know if I'm getting to try to even understand that right now, but that's just what I had to say. So, I mean, just look up Egyptian lore, dying and not come back, But basically, you want to. This is what the mission is for. This is what the basic mission is for basically everybody. Um, so each of these, that's why everyone isn't the same goddess. Obviously, we can't all be the goddess of flowers. We can honor the goddess of flowers or the goddess of wine or whatever, but you have to recognize who you are. Don't give your energy over to a spirit that isn't truly yours. Honor the other spirits and respect them, but don't harm or give your energy away, because you're just harming yourself. And and sometimes we don't know what, and people don't know what they're giving their energy up to most of the time. Like like I was just saying, these scattered spirits and scattered energy, like these, like the war gods, let's say, these European war gods are still in power. Like it's that's what the eye sees when I was watching Avengers and Captain America picks up Thor's hammer, and Thor is like an ancient war god, so just you, that's the connection they want you to make, is like they want. Okay, I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole real quickly. So the Captain America Thor thing, it's like, but it ties into this, how Captain America, we know his story. I mean, we don't know the stories. Just a kid who joined the army, whatever, World War II, and um, he becomes a super soldier. He becomes enhanced, right? His body is restored to his, to like pure whatever super European race DNA is supposed to be, whatever, right? Or they just gave him some black DNA, that restored his body to like this super strength level, this super ability level, and then he does his thing, he gets frozen, which is another thing. His body is perfectly preserved, and then it can be awakened later on, and the spirit returns to the body once the body is animated again. So, yeah. And so when Thor and Captain America are always like sort of joking about it, right? But like Thor being a god, remember he's a literal representation of a god. But that should make you understand even more about this god energy we're supposed to be putting into our channeling through us. But anyway, when Captain America picks up his hammer, that is him. That is Captain America, the superior white man, becoming the god, the new war god. That's why Thor is, that's why they like not that get rid of Thor, but that's sort of why this passing of the, it's this passing of the flag that's going on. All these things are rituals, right? So this is, I don't know, people with esoteric knowledge know what I'm saying. So I don't have to explain that much. So, yeah, so I had to just go down that rabbit hole real quick. So this is basically what we have to do, though, is what many people with the sun have forgotten how to do, is really tap in and really tune in. Like, this is what we're saying, because there's so much energy wandering around. There's a lot of random gods just wandering around, actually. Gods going to 9-to-5 jobs, wondering why they hate everything, because you're not free to do your godly things you want to do. Like, some people, like, we all have duties, man, and they're not the duties that they give us. It's their God that thrives on labor. It's their God that thrives on war. You got to pay attention to what these entities are that have been created over time, or what has been brought back to life, let's say. There are these lot of random guys running around right now. That's why this whole, dude, I have the synchronicities already within me, so everything's gonna start coming up. But the synchronicity of seeing all these people, the getting back into the gym movement, that's like another war god type thing, another Greek god type thing. And if you don't know, a gymnasium is an ancient Greek word for exercising naked, wrestling naked. It was for gay stuff. It's a gay club for everybody now. And this sexual chauvinistic thing that's going on, it's all Greek. And not in a good way at all. But you have to realize what you're responding to, what you're worshiping, what you're idolizing, what you're, you know, the things you are imbibing, um, the energies that you are dealing with on a regular basis. That's why amulets are important. That's why aura strengthening is important. Um, do not underestimate how strong your aura is at all. Wear colors for your aura. Like, do what your spirit is telling you. Tashira Tachiren said this, like, following spirit in every breath and every step without hesitation. So, you know, don't hesitate to do what you're called to do. If you're as long if you're in becoming if you're coming into balance, spirit is going to start coming to you a lot stronger and stronger. And because now spirit is trusting you to operate, or that's your spirit. I mean, it's all the same spirit, but this portion of spirit that's operating in you wants to keep operating in you freely. It wants to start flowing freely. It's like once the dam is open, it's going to keep coming through. And if you aren't allowing it to flow through, you're just going to give yourself utter destruction. And so to keep trusting, as you keep going, progressing, just keep trusting that feeling, even when it's uncomfortable. Because I'm definitely not a camera person, but I have been getting used to speaking more openly because I know this is part of, my divinity. Um, and that's what people need to understand, is like people need to understand their own divinity. That's why all these resources about, all the things have been so scattered or whatever. But if you're, as long as your eye, your intuition is open, you'll find what you're looking. You'll find what you need to find. When you have questions, just ask your question, and then it will be answered. Whether it be inside your head, inside your heart, or a sign or a synchronicity starts rolling in. Um, like when you're seeing like repeating numbers. Say you had a question, and then you look at the clock and it's 111, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, that's a confirmation on what that question is, or it's a sign to keep meditating on that thought you just had. Expand on it. Let it grow, and also allow it to, yeah, just allow it to come to life within you. And if you find it's if your whole self can't connect with the idea, break it down some more, dissect what's the core of it, where is it coming from. And that's important to know where it's coming from. And then you will, as far as it's only been like, okay, well, uh so anyway, continuing the information. But yeah, follow your sign, the signs and synchronicities about what's going on. This is all part of the shadow work. When I was making that comment, it just made me realize that the shadow work is just work we're doing here on Earth because our higher self is working. So to do all the stuff that our higher self can't really be doing, like, oh, that just makes that just like cleared the path in my head. Like, yo, like our higher self is doing all the light work for us already. So we have to be down here doing a lot of the dirty work. And the dirty work is grinding, hustling, doing all the stuff we really don't really want to do when we're in touch with our higher self. But when we start to clear those other energies out of our lives, like right now, everything's a mess because I've been dealing with this energy shift I've been dealing with anyways. But I realize it's because there's another entity of chaos that's operating in general over everyone's lives in this world. And that's why it's like it's like the opposite of Virgo. And or the shadow side of Virgo is operating right now. But like there's this great chaos and disorganization in people's minds and everything, because that is what's reigning over everything overall. So if we can do our shadow work, if as long as people keep doing their shadow work, which is, doing the hard stuff, doing the emotional cleansing, the purging, clearing our bodies out, clearing our minds, and healing our emotions, and strengthening our auras, our higher self, our light self can actually start shining through in our bodies on this earth, because it will actually be a way for it to come through the darkness. You got to clear the darkness for light to come through, kind of deal. It's yeah. I gotta sit on that one for a sec, because I just felt really good to get saved for some reason. It felt good to get off my chest. Because people get too scared about shadow work. They think it's some dark, scary thing. And it is a lot of times, But it's very much a mental play that's going on, And this world wants us to act out, or act in the place that it wants to be in. Like, that's something else I wanted to say. Like, as we're awakening our energy and with the raise our vibrations, our physical aura vibration, all of this is important for this reason, is that if you're awakening your God energy, or you sign away your God energy, like what these people have done, they sold their soul, like Beyonce and all them, all these celebrities, quote unquote, they've awakened their kundalini there. And I had this intuition forever ago. They've awakened their God energy. They know who they are. They can't tell us who they are, because they signed their contract. They signed a soul, their God energy, into this system that's using their energy to power the other shadow gods going on. And it just, honestly, it just makes perfect sense. So, like, back to Jay and Bay, because look, it's even in their names, the single syllable names, Jay, Bay. But they have this God energy, but they've been taken, or they've been sealed off, or just under contract by the devil, essentially, right? They sold their soul to the devil. That's what it means. Because they're using their spiritual energy to, make money for the devil. And we don't, and there's the rest of that cycle. Kanye tried to turn his life around, but he can't really get out of this contract with the devil, so he has to do a whole bunch of whatever. Kanye's doing his thing. I don't know what Kanye's doing, but I'm with it. I'm with Ye. Even he's like awakening to, that Ye. But I think a lot of these celebrities and musicians, they sign their soul. It happens to a lot of these young rappers and any of these young artists. So many of them that happens to, not just young Black artists, but so many young artists get killed or have their soul sapped away, energy, like in Coco, where what happened in there. So someone has to get sacrificed, and their soul, their their art, their energy is used to power a machine that just wants to create more to consume. And we see how it's working. Like, this is why they want us to continue to be wage slaves. Keep working for the man, the devil. Keep working for the devil, and so he can keep using your energy to power his machine. That's why they've made it so hard for you to want to pull away from it, because you're kind of like, most people are just stuck in there. I had this dream last night. It's sticky. It's like this nasty goo that's like keeping us from moving forward, because it's like someone just put a piece of gum in the gears. Yes. And we're all stuck in the gum. And the devil is like, yeah, just keep working at the gum, you'll get it out. Meanwhile, he's sticking more gum in there as you go. He's like, yeah, keep going, you got this. And then he's like, I'm just turn this up a little bit more. I'm not gonna, I'm just gonna, distract y'all with some other shit too, all that kind of stuff. You ever realize all this stuff that's going on is a game, is an illusion to trap us here in this matrix. And by the way, the meaning of matrix, the mother, it's a mother, it's a womb. In the book, in this old dictionary I just got, it is matrix is a place where something begins. And we know that Earth here is a matrix, or what we're here now is like, we call it the matrix, but it's like we say it, but we don't really know what we're saying sometimes, right? So it's where a matrix is where things begin, something from which something else comes from. So as we're all down here slaving away, not awakening, we're just continuing to be stuck in the matrix. And that's why they want to depopulate this place, because now it's a lot of energy down here. It's a lot of energy. It could blow if this right fuse is hit. But they want to blow in their direction. It's like a controlled demolition, right? But if we lay our own fuse and organize ourselves in the way it needs to be, we can break through this matrix and reform it around, more organized, wholesome, loving structure, instead of this machines-like structure that just saps our energy instead of grows our energy. So yeah, and also now thinking about books I've been reading. So like, it goes along with what I was saying. Is like, who are you serving? Like, do you know who you're really serving? And we have to really dive deep and really, really dig super deep into who we're really serving, because some of us may get out of Christianity and be like, oh yeah, I'm out, but then not realize you're still serving the devil, in different ways. So you may get away from the devil, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to start, talking to my ancestors and my ancient ones. But there's so many of them. There's just, of course, there's so many ancestors already, but there's also so many free spirits just wandering around, ready to take a body. And if your body is still damaged or not healed, the wrong one can end up coming in and taking that place up, when your true higher self is still waiting to come into you. So check out those other energies and forces that don't belong to you, that aren't supposed to be with you. Gotta be careful what kind of music you listen to. If you're emotional, and if your spiritual self is not as strong as it should be. But yeah, but even when you get through the higher self to your higher self, now, well, right now in this current age, it's a game of playing being your higher self, and then still operating in this world as it is. And that's where it can get really tricky, because now you're at odds. Now you're a god at odds with other humans, right? And that can quickly turn shadowy if you're not in your full compassion, and if you're, still got emotional hangups or whatever like that. Because a god with emotional hangups is pretty dangerous. All right. Just look at the Greeks. So, or just any god, really. Okay, so yeah, don't hurt yourself trying to get to God level so fast. Because you can really. I think that is where the fear and kundalini raising comes from. Because if your body isn't ready, if you aren't physically ready as well as mentally and emotionally, the spirit can just burst you into flames or fry all your neurons or whatever the case may be. Wherever you still have a weakness at, it will what's the word? It's like when you have a crack on something, but you may not see the crack, or you may see the crack, but you just pour on anyway, and it just breaks right through at that spot. It splinters from that location. So that's where you have to be, that's where you have to be careful. There's a video I just watched about when you put two magnets together, like you can't just sling two super magnets together. You have to like, so don't, yeah. So just be ready. Yeah, oh yeah, that's what I was saying about the magnets. But you have to put them together carefully, or they're just gonna blow up, or just spark and then fly off each other. Like it's a more of a violent reaction than it should be. But if you, yeah, put them together slowly to allow it to actually connect to each other. I think I would just, yeah. Um, so yeah, I think these are my synchronicities and signs for the moment. Um, I mean, I got more, but there's more things I got to meditate on, and some things I gotta sort through first for myself before I just go spouting out everything. Because a lot of reason, big reason why I'm so shy about talking is because I don't want to sound confusing or give too much information at once, and then it muddles everything I'm saying. But I mean, people who are truth seekers, sovereigns, understand what I'm talking about, and are able to, take what resonates, right? Hopefully, all of this resonated in some kind of way, and this helps everyone in their own spiritual journey, because everyone's on a spiritual journey of some kind, and it's not always like becoming a witch or whatever. It's also being like, Sheshet is the goddess of like astronomy and architecture and writing, you know organization and structuring things, which is really like exactly. I mean, I just woke up to who she really is for me. Like I just realized all the signs of my life have been pointing to Shashat, because I have always been a writer. I've always been into organizing like certain things and being like not a leader, like a Leo type leader, but more like a I have a plan type leadership, you know? Um so yeah, so I was just so like you have to like that's what you gotta do is just look through your whole life and learn listen to all the think about all the real life lessons you've learned, all your experiences, and also the real lesson, the scholastic lessons, the things you've read. But it's very much about taking all these pieces together and putting them together to figure yourself out, and that's how you awaken your true self. um like the I don't know, I just need to say this one. So like the algorithm is is not it's just an algorithm. It's its own neutral entity, right? And so you can tap into the algorithm for yourself. Just tune in. Sorry, my head is literally itchy. Like you literally have to like. It's probably because it's activating with my mind as I say it. But you have to be in control though. Be in mental control, the spiritual control, and let the energy work for you where you are directing it. And yeah, and then it can really, work for you, I mean, also, of course, we know that we're being targeted by the entities that want to keep the machine going, but they know that they're weaker. That's why they have to do all this stuff they're doing to compensate. So just tap into that higher source, the most high, and you can be on the same vibration as the algorithm even, and it can even work for you, because that's just how it just works. Just start making things work for you. Direct your attention towards making things work for you, and direct your attention towards awakening your spiritual energy. And um I think that's all I got. And hope you guys got what you needed. I hope yeah, that it works for you and all that. Much love, peace, family.